The home of the common Joe and the common Sally in the know, even more so than all those media talking heads.
Well. Seems like Oklahoma's not the only new member coming into the SEC that's been benefiting quite profusely from that new SEC logo in recruiting. Seems like the Texas Longhorns have been making inroads on some big-time commitments. As you know, Christian Clark just committed to the Texas Longhorns, and he had some interesting things to say about Texas recruiting in the near future and to put and serve notice to the SEC that Oklahoma and Texas, they're not coming in just to be mid-carders. Let's talk about it. Going down in a blaze of glory. It seems like that's what Texas is doing in their last and final season in the Big 12, especially in recruiting, like that old Bon Jovi song, Blaze of Glory, from the great soundtrack of the movies Young Guns 1 and Part 2. Those are great movies, by the way. If you get a chance, if you haven't seen them, check them out. Also got a few shout-outs today that I want to do. Michael Parks, one of my longtime supporters. He's a Longhorn guy. This was sort of his idea. He gave me this epiphany. And I'd like to give a shout out to Eric Blomquist for his big, huge $5 donation this past week. And if you want to join the Outlaw Posse as well, because here they come riding on in. Once again, the Outlaw Posse is up to 19 members, also almost up to that top 20. Now $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week, and get your little badge, get deputized, mount on up, and be a part of the Outlaw Posse. This is the Outlaw of College Football, and I can be found on Twitter at OCF Productions. Now, getting right to it here. Seems like old Texas got a pretty good recruit in Christian Clark. He's a 4-star running back who just committed to Texas. And he is of the belief, as he has said in a few of his interviews, that Texas is about to be experiencing a really big boom in recruiting, as he is on board to try to help as well in his efforts to try to get people to come with him to Texas. It's always good to get recruits that just do not sit back on their laurels. And it seems like Texas and Oklahoma both, who are coming to the SEC as new members, are not coming in here just to be here, just to be thankful to be in the SEC. And you see, a lot of SEC people think that they're just going to come in and do moderately well, sort of like Texas A&M and Missouri actually went to the SEC title game a couple of years in a row as the SEC East champion. But those guys didn't come in with those kind of recruiting rankings. Now, Texas A&M here recently had a great recruiting class. We all know what that was all about. But Missouri has never profoundly had a big-time top 10, 15 class, really. And yet they went to the SEC title game 2 years in a row. So if Missouri can do it, I'm sure Texas and Oklahoma can too, especially with the prowess that they have in recruiting. As you know, last year, Texas and Oklahoma, if I'm not mistaken, both finished in the top 5 in recruiting. So if Texas and Oklahoma had already been in the SEC would have had like 4, I think at least 4 out of the top 5 spots in recruiting. So people that are under the impression, I'm an SEC guy, but I'm not under that impression. But a lot of y'all that's under the impression that Texas and Oklahoma is just coming in here to, just be here and be thankful to be here. It's like I said before, that's just, I don't see that happening. As a matter of fact, Texas and Oklahoma, they got winning records against a lot of the SEC schools. Alabama, who's won the most national championships, Texas has a nice little edge over Alabama at 7-2, and Oklahoma's got a slight edge as well at 3-2. And they had a couple of ties in there, but I don't really count ties because ties don't happen anymore. But Christian Clark may be right. He may be onto something, as the crystal ballers out there are saying that Texas may now have the inside road to a bunch of great recruits that are ranked in the top 5 nationally at their positions. One of them being 5-star cornerback, Kobe Black, who is considered the second best cornerback nationally. Also, 5-star offensive tackle Brandon Baker of Mater D, I think that's how you say it, that powerhouse high school out in California that Alabama and a bunch of other teams have taken turns rating. Because, and the reason why I bring it up is because USC, who I like to prod a lot, and I'm going to give my obligatory prod to them, they said they were going to close it off. There's going to be a wall around California, and no teams were going to come in there and take anything. But they are. Because, Bryce Young come from Mater as well. And this guy is considered the #1 offensive tackle in the entire nation. And it seems like he may be coming to Texas. And I like that because, just like I said, it's another poking eye to the USC skittle shitters out there. The USC likes to bring up, well, we beat Oklahoma 55-19, blah, blah, blah. But Texas actually got the best of y'all last time. I know that still sticks in your craw. Old Vince Young come back from 14 down and took your shit. So I'm all for Brandon Baker. Please, Brandon Baker, come on, buddy. Come on to the SEC. Then they also may have an inroad to 5-star edge rusher Colin Simmons of Duncanville, Texas, who is the #1 edge rusher. Now, as you can see, Steve Sarkisian, while he's an offensive-minded coach, he learned a little bit of something from Saban because he's making inroads on great defensive players and taking it seriously. Unlike someone we just now talked about. I'm trying not to bring his name up because I think I'm going to end up causing a couple of coronaries out there in California because, they lose their bowels. There's one guy got in here last podcast made a comment about the skittle shitters as a bigotry type comment. And one of the topics I talked about was the submarine and the people that own the submarine saying that 50-year-old men, white men in particular, need not apply. I'm like, but you didn't say nothing about that, even though that was blatantly racist and age discrimination. But another topic for another day. I just want to give y'all a rundown of those great recruits that are coming in with Texas, because Texas and Oklahoma are both coming into the conference together, and it seems like they're bringing an army with them of 5-stars. So it's going to be real interesting to see what goes down in 2024, I must say that. It almost reminds me of an invasion type angle. Like back in the day, if you watch wrestling, if you watch professional wrestling, the NWO, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash come in as the NWO, and they had a secret third member that was coming with them that they didn't expect to be on their side. Well, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash are Texas and Oklahoma to me. And that third unsuspecting member that nobody's thinking about that's really pushing for Texas and Oklahoma to be in here and to have moderate success, even if unless it affects our success. But the Hulk Hogan of all this is right. It's Alabama Crimson Tide. So, y'all get ready for it. 2024 will be here before you know it. Texas and Oklahoma will invade the SEC, and they're coming in here with an army of 4- and 5-star athletes. And that's all I got to say about that. There's a little heart down here. If you don't mind, hit that. It's a little heart thanks button. Also, as I mentioned earlier, you can join the Outlaw Posse. There's a little join button next to the subscribe button. And if you're on an Apple phone, I've been informed that you can't join it from your Apple phone for whatever reason. It's an Apple issue. People out there with Apple phones, you get with them and ask them what's going on because you can't join any YouTube memberships with an Apple phone. But you can join it on your laptop or your computer. Also, if you want to cut the middleman out and not give any money to YouTube, because, they take a percentage of everything that I get, whether it's donations or whatever. They get a percentage of everything. Go into my Cash App, which is in the description of this video. Click on the Cash App, and you can donate to the program that way as well. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. And, as always, KMCA to all the other teams' class is now officially dismissed.